Hi guys, my name's Ellie, welcome to my channel, and today I want to do something with my makeup and talk to you guys. It's not quite a palette focus because it's not a palette, but it is a collection of shadows. Let me get the little protector out of the way. This is the Arctic Circle collection from Clionadh Cosmetics, and I've been playing with it and not playing with it and back and forth. I think I get a little stuck on how many blues and greens there are, and while trying to keep all of it in here while staying within the mattes that are provided, I really think I could get a ton more use out of these shimmers if I brought in other mattes, but for some reason I keep telling myself I can't. So we're going to attempt a very blue and greeny purple type look, and we'll just see what happens, because they are very pretty and I have liked all the looks I've gotten out of them. I just keep getting intimidated by approaching it, and I'm kind of at a weird spot personally where I have quite a few things that I'm interested in, and I have several reasons I'm not currently buying them and or might not buy them ever. So I thought it'd be a nice time to kind of update you guys on my temptations to kind of like break and or use my purchases towards for my low buy. So I have given myself replacements. So if I run out of something like this is the only eyeshadow primer I have right now. If I finish it, which will be sometime in the next couple months, if not next month, because eyeshadow primer seems to last forever until you get down to the last bit and it just runs away. But I'm trying to, keep myself to what I need on foundation and mascara and primer and stuff, setting powder, all the things that I only really keep one running at a time of. And then of all the various, lipsticks and blushes and eyeshadows where I have so many, I'm trying to really limit my purchases and keep it to 1 a month and or 12 over the whole year, and hopefully that will be good for me. We will find out, because I've made 2 purchases. One that's not really purchased, but I'm kind of counting it as a punishment for myself. So I put eyeshadow primer on. I'm going to go in and put this beige shade from the Tarte Tartelette palette. It is Free Spirit. That's going to go on my crease to brow bone to set my lids. But I got a little confident in January, since we were kind of recovering from all the holiday releases. There wasn't a lot coming out, and February I made the one kind of penalty purchase. It wasn't technically spent money, but it was an item added to my collection. I bought one of the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks came up as a point perk, like a full-size Charlotte Tilbury lipstick, which I got really excited for, bought way too fast without really thinking about it or trying to get color comparisons. Turns out I have basically that same shade in a different brand, so now we have to pan a lipstick, which I was already trying to do because I have a lot of lipsticks and I don't wear them as much as I should. But then the other purchase I made was I ordered, Clionadh Cosmetics came out with a shadow bundle that was the Dreamweaver, sounds right. Dreamweaver, and it's a lot of pastels and gorgeous lighter spring shades, which, since I was giving away my Kat Von D Pastel Goth palette, I really liked the idea of kind of replacing some of those shades with a formula that I'm more comfortable using and having that available for springtime, because I've been really bad about wearing makeup the last couple of months. Sorry, I can hear people downstairs having trouble. They're trying to cook my sister's birthday dinner, and it doesn't sound like it's going well. Okay, so that's on. I am also panning this little Bare Minerals loose shadow in Wearable Pistachio Light, which I've been using as a brow bone highlight. So we're going to put that on. Same brush. But yeah, so I have Clionadh Cosmetics is one of the ones that I've really given myself the leeway to just kind of buy without stressing or guilting myself about. Like, it will still count towards my purchases, but I'm not being as, I don't know, restrictive on it. Like if a collection comes out and I want it, which I really wanted the Arctic Circle collection, I really wanted the Dreamweaver collection, I really want the stained glass collection that is coming up, which is going to be a huge impact on my collection. It's big, and so far I'm kind of feeling like I might buy all of it, which is a lot. That is a lot, but apparently I'm doing it because that's what my brain says. Hold on just a second. I want to get, oh, I don't, no. I want to get my color switch because I might be doubling up some of my brushes. I do have coffee, but there are some other things I've been interested in, and I've set different restrictions for myself. So I'm going to start with just kind of placing some colors. I think I want to do my plan. I want to kind of do these three blending across the top lid, and maybe the blue and the purple on the lower lid. I have a little bit more trouble getting multiple colors down here, not having it just blend way down, so we'll see. But I'm thinking this green, which is Sublimate, on the inner third, Tundra, which is the blue, on the middle third, and Aurora, which is the purple, on the outer third. But let's see how that goes for me. Because these shadows, though quite light, are very pigmented. And so I want to just kind of place it and see how that goes, and then blend out the top edge. Because yeah, that shows up pretty quickly. And quite true to color. So yeah, I'm not worried about, well, other than the volume, I'm not super worried about Clionadh purchases being too much, because they only come out with so many collections so far, and you know, I'm not going to want all of them. In theory, I might want all of them because they've been really on trend right lately. At least they've been hitting the marks I like. But there's been a couple other brands that have really kind of tempted me. So the first one that really kind of got me was Urban Decay said they were coming out with a Game of Thrones collection. At the time, I was like, oh my god, I'm really into it. I'm really excited. I know now what it is, and I'm not that tempted. It's all very muted, which I know technically fits the aesthetic of the show because it's all more earth tones and stuff like that, but they could have found ways to add in some color. Like they could have done more lighter blues to match the White Walkers and all that. They could have done some stronger reds to match the dragons and stuff like that. They could have done more. And at the time I saw it and I was like, okay, that's really cool, but I want to see what it is before I make a decision. I was also tempted by the ABH FS Beverly Hills, before I get too ridiculous with my, you know, shortenings. They came out with the Riviera palette, which is really pretty, and it's very colorful for, well, honestly, for most brands. For most big mainstream brands, that's a really colorful palette. And, sorry. Honestly, other than like a quick blend out with the top edge, this might just be where I want to keep it, because it's real pretty. It was really pretty, and I was interested in the combination of like brighter mattes and some really pretty metallic shades. But I'm trying not to buy stuff right away, because in the past that would have been something where I would have been watching and like on it and been like, yeah, as soon as this comes up on the site or on Sephora or whatever, I'm gonna buy it. And I haven't done that in a while, so I've been trying to be a little better about it. I'm gonna take this clean fluffy brush and just kind of sweep back and forth to knock off a bunch of the pigment, actually. I don't think I've used this purple yet. It is not sticking the best. I do have a lot of fallout now. Let me try this slightly darker one. This is Borealis, and see if I can kind of deepen up the edge and get the pigment to stick, because I do not appreciate that blank patch. Oh, it's still empty. Oh, this is not going well. Oh no. Oh no. This does not go well. Well, hold on while I get my makeup remover, because we're not moving forward with that look. Let me clean it up and I'll be back so we can just go ahead again. Alright, so that is off, so we're gonna have to prime and put the base shades back on and try a different strategy. I've used the green one, and the green one and the blue one stayed a little better than the past, but that purple did not. I'm wondering if these are a touch more conducive to just kind of like patting on and not really blending out the edges with that type of brush. That is a possibility, and I don't use a lot of pastel shades, so sometimes the makeup also just fights me. All sorts of options. But let's keep talking. So I had seen the teaser for the Urban Decay Game of Thrones palette collection thing right around when I'd also seen the Riviera palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills come out, and I knew that I was not going to buy both. Right away I knew, I was like, I'm not buying both. One or the other, or maybe one now and one later, but not both at the same time, not on the release date. We're trying not to be that person. So, I'm going back in with Free Spirit and that other one. And hopefully this will be quick, because these are not. I don't always like restarting an eyeshadow look. Normally I just wear whatever's happening, but I did not like that empty patch of the purple. So I knew that I had to wait for at least the Game of Thrones teaser to be a full, like, kind of concept release. So at least I knew what the collection was going to be, whether or not it was going to be on sale, to know which one was my higher priority. The color story in the Riviera palette was really tempting. I liked the mix of the more colorful with some other more traditional mid to neutral colorness. Like, not like bright, but not necessarily like nudes. And I do like, I've liked most palettes from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the ones that I've had, and I was quite interested to see how they did those colorful mattes. And I want to support bigger companies, bigger brands experimenting in color. I feel like that's kind of one of my things where I want to be like, yes, please, keep going, keep playing, which will come into a different story as well. So, I knew I was interested, and I probably want it at some point, kind of thing. And then, but I wanted to wait. I was like, I'm not buying it on release. I'm not running out. I'm most likely definitely not buying it from the Anastasia Beverly Hills website, because if I'm going to buy anything, I should probably buy it from Sephora or Ulta, because I can either get those, in store, or I can, get a shipping discount type thing. They do sales, and they're the places that I have point rewards with, whereas it's not the best reasoning, but having something that I'm going to get from place A or B is better for me, because you can then, feel more confident. Okay, so I think what we're going to try and do is I'm going to pick up Blue Boy Tundra on this one and kind of build that up a little bit more slowly in my crease. I'm not sure we're going to fuck with purple again, just because I'm nervous and I don't want to take my makeup off a second time. And I know I've used the green in the past, but I kind of want to try just a soft wash of blue. Because this is how I put on the green in the past. I hadn't packed it and then tried to blend it out. So maybe this is a happier process for them. The shades, you know. So yeah, I knew I wanted to wait for both of them. I didn't want to hop on the site and just buy it immediately. I wanted to see what happened with like the releases and stuff like that. I have since seen, little pigment buildup out there. I have since seen what they're doing with the Urban Decay collection, and I'm just not that into it, so I don't think we have to worry about that currently. I also think I'm going to take some of Dison Sedge on my lower lash line on this fluffy brush we used in the past, knock the color off on the color switch, and see if we can't get some blue and green happening. Because I know I've used Sedge in the past and I do quite like it. It ends up a little lighter on the lid, but I like it. So I was putting off buying those. I've since calmed down a little bit on the Anastasia Riviera palette. And since I've seen the Game of Thrones and I have that type of a packaging from them in the Alice Through the Looking Glass palette, so it's got like a top piece and like a bottom piece, and like the palette is a thing that draws out, and it's a lot of packaging. It's a ton of packaging. I'm gonna take the darker purple, which I think is Borealis, and just start placing and fusing these two at my outer corner. Yeah, see, that looks nice-ish. So I knew that packaging, though not the worst, is kind of a bitch, and I didn't really want it. If it had that kind of packaging, and the color story is just so much more muted and neutral than I was interested in. So we just not really doing the Game of Thrones thing, at least not right now, because the palette was my main interest. I was really hoping for an eyeshadow palette, and they technically gave me that. They gave me one I'm not that tempted by. The highlighter trio thing is not my jam. Oh no. Oh, we're lifting up again. We'll see if we can do something with it anyway, because I'm not taking off my makeup another time. So, let's start by putting something dark in the outer corner. Let's do this in Tree Line, which is a nice little olivey green type shade. Get it back in my little collection. And I'm going to get this bigger brush to kind of pack it on. So yeah, I was tempted by those two. I think I'm still potentially going to get that Riviera palette, but later. And for all I know, it'll end up kind of like what I was with like the Naked Heat, where I'm like, I'll get it at this other time, and by the time that rolls around, I'm not that tempted. Oh, is it just that I'm having a bad makeup day? That I don't really like how that looks? Maybe. Maybe I'm just not meant to wear makeup today. But I am not giving up yet, because I wanted to talk about things, but that purple really just kind of disappeared. Maybe that's why I haven't used the purples yet. Trying to cover it with some shimmer shade. Yeah, that purple really didn't play well with others. So, I don't want the Game of Thrones one, and I'm putting off the Riviera palette to see how I feel about it later. Then Tarte decides to finally come out with a version of their April Fool's palette from last year, and I don't like it. I like some of the shades, like when I see them swatched, I like those. They're still calling it the Icy Bitch, which I think is... Especially because the names in the palette, I think they were all, if not most of them, women's names. I didn't need that. I liked the colors in the original fake palette. And I like some of the colors in the new one. I'm just not that into it. I wanted it to be better. I wanted it to be closer to that. I don't like that they took a huge chunk and made it a face highlighter. Because we have those. We have plenty of those. We don't need eye and cheek palettes in the volume that they're coming out of other places. I don't want that. I don't need that. I do potentially want this in. If we're going crazy, let's put Iceberg on the inner half and see what that looks like. Maybe that'll make me happier with my color choices. Oh, that's pretty. Oof. That is a pretty shade. I have not generally been let down by the metallic shades, so that... Oh, yes. Oh, that's gorgeous. And icy. So yeah, as much as I want to continue that thing of like supporting brands that come out with colors, my first reaction to that Icy Bitch palette is not exactly ecstatic. I like that it's blues and greens, mainly blues. And that's pretty, and I like a lot of the colors they chose, but the format they put it in, I understand that the name for the original was part of a joke and blah blah, whatever. What I would have liked to seen was you to keep it in the tartlet range. That's fine. You have tartlet, tartlet and bloom, tartlet toasted, tartlet frosted. That's all you needed to do. Keep it in that bigger section that takes away, that differentiates it a little bit from the joke palette. It allows it to be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more fun, and it also makes it more likely that people are going to see it as a standalone and not just a delayed response to wanting something else. I feel like I'm gonna go Danger and try and put some of Sedge, which is the darker green, over here, and see if that won't stick a little bit better and kind of save that outer corner. It did almost entirely cover up the shimmer, so we know that it builds on shimmers. See if we can't fix that. I'm gonna be a lot less excited about these purples then if they don't play well with my eyes. Yeah, it's doing something. Oh, it's doing a little too much over here. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah, because the green's staying, the blue's staying, purple is not. But let's take some more of that metallic green that I had and repack the outer lid. See if we can't just kind of fudge out those edges. Because the lid, the mobile lid, I like. The crease on the top, I don't particularly like. I have a ton of fallout. Okay, that's kind of helping. I really think that purple just kind of tried to kill me. I'm going to take some more of that gorgeous light blue and make sure that we don't lose that. And maybe I just need to expand into other mattes with these, since these mattes, at least the purple, tried to kill me. Tried to kill my look at least. It's so messy. Oh, it's so messy. But I don't have the energy for a third attempt, so we're just gonna keep going. Oh. I'm gonna take Arctic Fox on the inner corner, maybe a little bit on the brow bone, and that'll just probably be where I stop playing with this look and see what it looks like when I finish the rest of my makeup, and if it is something I'm gonna keep on or something I'm just gonna wipe off. Because I liked the green. The blue played pretty well. The shimmers are phenomenal. They always make me happy. But that metallic purple did not play well with me. Not metallic, matte. Oh. So yeah, in that Tarte thing, I think it coming out with a blue and green palette was a good choice because that was what we were asking for. I think it's pretty late, but I do understand it takes a while to formulate colors and come up with packaging and get everything going through the works, especially with bigger brands. Oh, that's pretty. Let's see if I can save a little bit by putting this up here on the brow bone to kind of blend out that top edge, maybe make it work a little better. That might just be as much as we're gonna get out of that. Oh, I'm sorry. This purple is going into the shame corner. Because I've used some of the other ones. Like, I've used this shade. I've liked it. I've used Sedge. I've used Hibernate and liked it. But that purple, it did not play well. And I don't want to keep playing with it right now until I can make it work, because that's just too much for me. But yeah, I think keeping it in the Tartelette brand and allowing it to be an addition. So we have the original Tartelette that's all matte. We have In Bloom that involves like some glistening, some glow, kind of springy type feelings. It's still a very neutral palette. You have the Toasted, which brings in the warm tones, and you could do Frosted to bring in the cool tones and hit that mark, get some of your people back with that, you know, fiasco of posting a joke palette and have everybody be like, yeah, that's what we fucking want, and then be like, what? And not be prepared to bring something out like that. And I understand that Tarte doesn't do as much color, so I do want to support them and decide that they should keep going, because I think the colors that I have from them are quite nice. I think they do a good job formulating it. I just don't think the way they finally brought out blues and greens is good. I don't like that practically half the palette is a fucking face highlighter, because that's not what I'm buying from Tarte. Their highlighters are not bad, but they're not what I'm drawn to. They're not as good as other brands, and I don't like when somebody says, oh, I'm going to give you blues and greens, but I'm going to give you a smaller portion mixed in with a face highlight that's really, really frosty and is a lot harder for people to pull off. I could probably wear it because I'm a corpse, but that's not going to look as good across multiple skin tones as just doing a cool toned eye. It's a lot harder to wear really frosty highlights, and making that something that you have to not only like the blues and greens on your eyes, but like a frosty highlight to buy this smaller, not same palette. I don't know yet. As of right now, I'm real mad about it, but I don't know if that's something where I'm going to come back in a little bit and be interested in it, because I do like the blues and greens they put in. When they're swatched, they're very pretty, and I'm very optimistic in their color ability, because the colors I do have from Tarte, let me see, nope, it's under stuff. I have their Tartelette Pro Remix, that one. It has pretty colors. And I've had Tarte palettes that have a little bit more color in them, and the colors are well formulated. That's why I'm interested in Tarte bringing out more colors, because they seem to be doing them well. It doesn't seem to be something where you have this palette that has these gorgeous pans, but then that doesn't translate onto your eye. I've had the experience of Tarte being really good about making those colors pigmented and perform well, at least on my skin and my available options. So I really want them to do well with the color they're bringing out, but I really don't think that's the way they should have responded to that reaction. I think they needed to move it faster. They really needed to move it faster. And I think they should have just come out with, like, the very similar, if not the same layout. We were excited about getting it in this packaging, this format, because this is a really nice format. It's very crisp. You can definitely line up different color options, different color families, make it something where it's really easy to read across and do that, and especially with blues and greens where people say they want them, and sometimes you get them and you're not really sure how to pair them together in a way that's not crazy, which I look a little crazy right now. It's fine. It'll probably look better once I finish the rest of it and knock off some of that excess, but you need to make it something that's a bit more approachable, especially if you're going to cater to a demographic of people who want color and people who are interested but a little more hesitant to try it out. Make it something that's more visually easy to use, because I don't see the layout in the Icy Bitch palette being that intuitive. I'm so mad about that fucking face highlighter in there. That's not the layout that we wanted. That's not enough. And I know I'm talking other videos about trying to buy the things that you want to encourage them to keep going down that route, mixed together, route. I don't like it right now. I don't like looking at the palette. I like the colors as eyeshadows. I don't like that they fucking put in a face highlighter and made it an eye and cheek palette, because that's stupid. And I don't think that's where we needed. I don't think we needed a huge frosty highlighter with those colors. And I think it would have fit much better in expanding the Tartelette line. I just think it would have. I think it would have been much better. And I have to go finish my face and come back and hopefully look a little less ridiculous. Yeah. So, still not my favorite look, but I'm liking it better. I really wish this just, like, hid that part and that part. So next time I'm probably not going to involve the purples until I'm feeling more adventurous, because, like, that lid is gorgeous. Sedge, gorgeous. But all of the issues that I don't like about this look come from that fucking purple duo thing. So, I'm a little more nervous. I'm gonna have to play around and see. Honestly, I don't use soft lilac-y purples that often, but I want to see if there's a way I can use them, or if they really are just something that fights me too much, or doesn't like my primer, or if I need to find a different setup to use them, because they're pretty colors, and I'd be interested in figuring out ways to use them. I'm trying to remember if I've used any other ones in that same shade that gave me the same trouble. Honestly, I don't think I've had that many. I did kind of lay my highlighter over it to help hide a little bit of just this corner bit. I do like it as a full look, if I could just snip that off. But yeah, I'm a little frustrated with the releases. I'm feeling tempted. I didn't get into the Menagerie Cosmetics stuff. I might do that later, because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, and I didn't really get to it because I sabotaged myself, and then the purple sabotaged me, and long story short, just a quick update. Menagerie Cosmetics are a brand I was interested in buying from. I'm interested in their Dragon palette and the Feral palette, and potentially some singles, and they were on my to-buy list, but they weren't top priority because these are more colorful palettes that I won't be able to use in daily rotation. And then they put up kind of a post that didn't really rub me the right way, which I can understand. Actually, hold on. If I'm gonna chat anyway, I might as well do it somewhere where I don't have to hold the filming setup in my hands and get very tired and shaky. So they put up a post kind of commenting on, I guess it's a single brand owner, it's an indie brand. She put up a post kind of discussing how she really wanted to do this one palette, but they hadn't really hit the sales and the response that they wanted, and kind of like, in my opinion, kind of blaming the consumers for not buying more of her product. And I didn't like that. I really didn't. So I guess we're doing this now because I've settled. I'm interested in the brand. I really liked it. It did rebrand recently-ish. I think it was either the end of last year or the start of this year, where they went from being Makeup Monsters, which was an established, decently known indie brand, to discontinue, kind of switching over almost entirely to a new brand called Menagerie Cosmetics. They discontinued their liquid lipstick, had to come up with a new one. They carried over one palette and then started a new palette, so anybody who knew Makeup Monsters and isn't aware of it doesn't know Menagerie Cosmetics. They would have to search and figure that out. They wouldn't be able to do the same type of where's Makeup Monsters, or I've heard about Makeup Monsters in the past. So there's a lot less brand recognition with the rebranding. They did go, I believe, vegan and cruelty-free, I think. I'm not super confident. Those aren't things that have to be checked off for me to buy a product, so I don't care as much about checking if what I'm buying is vegan or cruelty-free, because it's a perk if it's there. If it's not, I don't restrict myself that way. But it is a perk if you are trying to do that. I think that was the reason they rebranded, is they wanted to go vegan and cruelty-free. And for some reason that meant they had to change the name, or maybe there were some reasons that I either didn't know or didn't find out and didn't really care, because those aren't things that really affect my makeup purchases. But I personally feel like a lot of the reason that their sales have not been where they wanted them to be is because of the rebranding. If you take something where you've been Company A for a while, and people know Company A, they know the quality of Company A, they have all of these different influencers and YouTubers and people who, Instagrammers, whatever, who use Makeup Monsters liquid lipsticks or whatever, and, you know, ranted and raved about how great they were, because they were pretty popular among people who tried them. And then you take all of that hype and all of that brand awareness for, if you want a pigmented, interesting, unique color, go to Makeup Monsters, and then you get rid of the name attached to it and say, well, we're Menagerie Cosmetics. There hasn't been that time to build up that same brand awareness. Not everybody knows that they changed. Not everybody knows, you know, if the new formula matches up to the old formula, because they did reformulate. And it's just a lot harder to keep up with that, and I don't think they've fully recovered yet. We're still having cooking errors downstairs, apparently, because I can hear my dad cursing. I don't think that they've fully gotten back to where they were since changing names and changing formulas and trying to get their feet back under them. And so I don't really appreciate them posting something kind of saying, oh, where did our support go? You changed. You fucking changed your name, and you changed your formulation, and not everybody's confident that it's the same, and or even knows that you did it. These are self-imposed things that you did to yourself, and now you're upset about the repercussions. That you didn't take this into account when you were changing the way people find your brand by the name. They can't always search Makeup Monsters and get redirected unless you paid some extra to get that adjusted or whatever. So they can't find you as easily. They don't have as many backup reviews, as much hype around your brand, because it's now basically a new brand. These are things that the brand chose to do without, as far as I know, prompting from customers to put these extra restrictions on themselves, to change their name, to change their formulas, to change what they have and what they're putting out, and it hasn't recovered yet. You need to give yourself time to say, we're doing this, because they took all of their lipsticks, they sold out what they had, they took them offline, and they took them offline for an amount of time. I don't remember if it was long, or if it just felt like a long time, and they relaunched them. But it's a different brand. There's not as many reviews. There's not as much talk about these lipsticks because they're new. They haven't been around. And it's a different color story than what had been in the past. They don't have the same shade. It's not like they took all of the same ones that existed and made new ones. They're a lot more neutral tones. Like, there's a couple purples and greens, but overall they're mauves and pinks and peaches, which is not what a lot of people were going to Makeup Monsters for. They were going for blues and greens and strange colors. So it's different. It's a different brand. You have to wait for people to decide what they are interested in your brand. And it just really rubbed me the wrong way that they came out and basically said, well, where's our support? You fucking sabotaged yourself with a name change and a change of the brand overhaul. If Tarte, who is a go-to person for colors, neutral, easy, very wearable, very approachable colors, if they discontinued all of their neutrals and only put out brights, it would take their brand a while to adjust to either become a leading, purveyor of brighter colors. I don't know where I was going with that. But it takes a while to adjust if you want to fully change how your brand is viewed and what they're putting out. That shift from people being upset about changing your name, upset about changing your formula, upset about changing your color choices, to being excited about what you do have, that's going to take time, and you have to build that into your business model. You cannot say, well, I had A, B, and C all planned out, and I didn't account for the fact that there was going to be a drop in sales when I changed how easy I am to find and how many, reviews and history people have with this brand. You can't say, I shot myself in the foot, why am I not running as fast? So, I'm sassy. Even though these are things I was interested in. I wanted to try the new liquid lipsticks because I haven't tried the old ones, so I don't have a previous comparison, but they were colors that looked good to me, but I'm on a low buy, and a lot of people are on low buys or no buys because of how oversaturated the market is and how people are overspending and overstuffing their makeup collections with more than they can use. So I wanted to buy 2 palettes, potentially some singles, and a lipstick or 2, and I need to wait until I have that space in my collection, or if I've decluttered some and made a space for it, and I'm not there yet, and then you come out and say, well, why is nobody buying? Well, overall, a lot of people I'm following and talking to aren't buying as much as they have in the past, and they can't find your brand because you don't have as much of a history because you changed your name. And with the change of the formulas, technically those old reviews don't qualify anymore. They don't count as a review of your company because they're not a formula or a company that exists anymore. I'm so frustrated. And I guess based on the response of that, I think it's since been deleted, the post. But they had teased a Whale Song palette that they were like, this is what we wanted to do, but we couldn't because you guys didn't buy our stuff, which is how I read that. It might not be how she meant it. I understand being stressed, but that's a big PR no-no. Do not post that stuff on your public brand company account. Rant to your friends. Keep it off social media because it's going to impact people and make them less excited to try your brand. But there is currently a pre-order going on for the palette because she did talk to some people and whatever, and the response she got, I guess she's now more confident in making it, at least as a pre-order option, to take money and then formulate it and come out with it to those people who put in the pre-orders. And I kind of like the colors. I think the blues and greens are shades that I would potentially use. They're a little deeper, they're a little bit more tied into an everyday look than some of the other palettes, at least in my opinion. And so I'm both mad at her and tempted to buy the palette. So, I'm going back and forth between, yes, we should support things that we want to see. Oh, I just keep getting it back and forth. I would like to see these types of shades, and I would like to see them in formulas. I've heard good things about the formula in her eyeshadows. I just am so sassy right now. And that's why I was wanting to buy them. And she just came out with singles, so that's 2 eyeshadow palettes, one of which is newer, eyeshadow singles, which are new, liquid lipsticks, which are still pretty new. Those are things that people don't know as staples. They're not things that have a ton of reviews. People are like, oh, if you want this type of a shade, yeah, go to Menagerie So, as much as I wasn't at a point where I was right about to just put in a big order, because it will be a big order. When I'm putting in my order, it will be several things, and I need to prepare my collection for that, because it's quite full. And I'm trying to declutter, and I'm trying to pan. But that palette is tempting me, and it shouldn't, because I'm mad at her. I'm hoping that'll fade, and I'll calm down, because I understand as a one-person, smaller community, it's harder to stay in the good, like, little sweet spot of being vocal about things that people care about, like, you know, the struggles of a small brand owner and how complicated it is, and, like, making us aware of why things might not be coming out as often or as quickly as bigger brands, or why there might be different holdups on whatever. Because there are generally holdups on formulation, production, and shipping when you're ordering from a smaller company. An indie brand is less likely to just have 1,000 pallets sitting, just pull one, chuck it in a box, and send it off to you. A lot of times they have to hand make it, or they have to make it in batches and then sell those batches and then make more, and it's a lot more delays. And I understand posting things to try and make that more visible for people who don't know that, or people who forget that as they're ordering and wondering where things are. I just really don't appreciate feeling like somebody who made a personal choice about how to change and impact their business, and it's not going where they wanted it, to then put it back on the consumers for not buying enough. It's like the same kind of thing that happened with Marlena from Makeup Geek, where things happened in her personal and professional life that impacted the way her brand was perceived and putting out product, and then she complained about people not talking about the product and not moving her units, as opposed to taking into account being like, I've done A, B, and C, it has not reacted in higher sales or higher profit for me, so maybe I should look at what I'm doing with my brand and adjust it to the market that exists. I'm so cranky. Oh. Sorry, my neck is made of Rice Krispies. It needs to be popped. But so I'm tempted. I'm curious what you guys are at in that spot. So how do you feel about brands venting their frustrations about their customer response? Do you feel like it's a normal thing where, like, they're letting us know that they kind of feel like they should have... I don't like that either. Do you think it's something where it allows us to be more in touch with the brand and their frustrations and be aware of things? Or do you feel like I do, where we shouldn't be basically being shamed into buying more of your product because you want to be at a certain point? Yeah. I'm undecided on the Whale Song palette. It's pretty. I like it. And I like, more available greens and blues. I just don't know how I feel about putting in an order right now when I wasn't already going to buy anything, I don't feel like it should be something where that type of a post should be rewarded with extra sales. So I'm not, like, canceling her. I'm taking a breather, which I wasn't even really buying at the beginning. It was something I had a order planned down the road. I'm wondering if that's something where I'll just get to where I'm at the point and order it, or if I might, I don't know, I might put it off even more. Or maybe I'll break and decide that I want that now when I order the Whale Song palette, because it's a pre-order. There is currently a discount for putting in the pre-order. It's like a $25 palette. I don't know what the shipping's like, which is one of the other things I've heard, is that the shipping costs are a little rough. I don't know where she's shipping from, so it might just be that that's more of an international thing, which I really don't like, that shipping is so high for out-of-country people. But at the same time, shipping is what it is. If it has to go a further distance, sometimes it costs more. If you have to take into account customs and taxes and stuff like that from leaving one country and entering another, it could also be factored into the shipping. I don't know. That's not something that I've ever had to do, because I don't have a business. I'm not doing that. But yeah. Although, it is good for my no-buy when people piss me off, because then I don't buy it. which is kind of what happened with the Game of Thrones. The way they're using it is not what I was expecting, and it angered me, so I'm not buying it. Who else? Did anybody else do anything? Technically, Kat Von D has saved me quite a bit of money, because I don't know if my mentality would have been different if she hadn't pissed me off, and if I would have been more receptive to what she did put out. Maybe I would have bought some of it if I wasn't, you know, done with Kat Von D as far as the immediate future. Yeah, so it is technically good for my wallet to piss me off, but I was so excited because the Menagerie palette looks really, really nice and looks like something I can really use a lot of it day to day. And then the singles looked nice. I was interested in them. They're not all like super unique, but they looked very pretty. The Dragon Child palette is something I was tempted and curious about. I want to see how well I can tie those into looks day to day, or if they're all, you know, just fun colors that I have to wear on the weekends, you know, like this. Which, honestly, if I did a different crease shade, I could probably wear this to the office, because that lid is not anything that I find ridiculous for wearing to the office. Oh, I think it's just struck me that this lid shade is kind of the non-glitter version of a different shade that I liked, but didn't work for me. And now I'm feeling less sassy. I feel happier now. I don't know if that's just me, where you'll see stuff and you'll be like, oh my god, I've duped it, kind of. And then that totally, like, changes your mentality for a second. So yeah, I was interested, and I think I might buy it later. I don't know when, but I also didn't originally know when I was going to place that order. I'm kind of hoping to stop myself and have enough space to play that's something that I'm confident bringing into my collection. Because that, if I hold off, and if it, you know, everything goes well, and I buy 3 palettes, and a single or 2, and a lipstick, that's a big collection impact. And I need to keep that in mind when I'm buying stuff, because I'm still, like, I still have these things that I bought end of the year type holiday stuff, and they're still in my testing area because I've used them once or twice. This one, I've used once. I've used once because it angered me, and I don't know how I feel about it. But this is something, if I do figure out how to use it, I could use a lot. This is pretty, but I've used it 2 or 3 times. I need to use it more. And having them over here in my testing area has really helped me kind of be like, you still haven't really fully formed an opinion on the oh, and this one. Very nice, warm palette. Again, I've used once, twice, maybe. The fact that I've had these, that we are at the end of yeah, it's April 1st. We are at the end of the first quarter, and I have things from the end of the year that I don't have fully formed opinions on. That's ridiculous to me. Oh, and this. This was an end of the year thing as well. These shadows from Clionadh Cosmetics. They were something I ordered at the end of the year and got partway through this year. As you can see from playing, I haven't even used all of them, and some of them don't like me. I'm just ranting now. I need to go so you guys can get back with your lives, that I can finish up, because I now have to go wrap some presents for my sister's birthday dinner. Which is cool. I got her some stuff. I got her some potentially useful stuff. Because this is going to go up after, so I think she watches my channel sometimes, if not all the time. I got her, she's very into reusable things that have less of an impact on the environment, so she's been really switching over into, you know, less paper towels, more, you know, cloth reusable towels, fewer Ziploc bags, finding like a really interesting vacuum sealable reusable containers that allow you to get the same benefits of like squeezing all the air out of a Ziploc bag and keeping it fresh without having to throw out the bag at the end, because you can just wash your container and reuse it. But I got her some balls of felted wool that have kind of been packed together. You can chuck those in your dryer in replacement of dryer sheets. They're reusable. They do the whole softening and, I believe, anti-static that you get with dryer sheets without having to throw out a sheet every time and buy boxes and boxes of things. You just have that one, actually I think hers is a trio of like 3 balls of felted wool that allow you to use that as fabric softener. I think in theory you can also add some essential oils, like dab it onto the ball to kind of like scent your clothes as well, but I'm not sure she's gonna do that because I'm not sure she cares. I also got her a very cool little can opener that I'm interested in how it works. It's very flat, and then you just kind of put it on the top and then spin it around. As opposed to having like the big handles and everything, it's supposed to be really, really compact and good at opening cans, because it's a thing in my family kind of about finding good can openers, because some of them are like good for a use or two, and then some of them kind of crap out very easily and they don't open a can very nicely. And then I also got her a ridiculous set of small like snack plates with sardines on them, because they were pretty and blue, and my mom was with me and she was yelling about how pretty and blue they were. So my sister gets those, that's words. But I now have to go wrap those, and I need to do that. And hopefully restrain myself from buying makeup from a company that I'm mad at, even though, I don't know. I have feelings, and I don't know where my feelings are yet. So, I have that a lot of the time, where I'm like, I have feelings. Is it rational? Am I just in a bad mood today? Is it something I need to take into account other perspectives and other things I might not be thinking about while having my feelings? So, I'm trying to be more aware of what causes my feelings, what I can do to take other people's situations into account. It's hard. It's helpful sometimes to be able to step back and be like, am I mad because I'm having a bad day, or because they did something, or because I'm not thinking about their motivations for what they did and how that will affect how I feel about what they did. Things. So, I'm gonna go wrap some presents, and it is growing on me. I am liking it. I just really wish that the edges were less muddy, because the green's nice. This is nice. Top creases, meh. We'll see. We'll play some more. Have some more disasters on my face, because that's what happens when you play with things and you don't have a plan and you haven't used all of them before. Disasters happen sometimes. Thank you guys for watching and putting up with my rants and my ridiculousness. I appreciate all your time and effort spent on this channel, and I'll hopefully have some more fun things for you guys soon, because I know I haven't been posting as much, because I've been doing other things and not wearing nearly as much makeup, because I have not yet adjusted to being awake so early in the mornings for my job, and we are going at the end of the 3rd month. So, hopefully, we will start getting on a system where I can get up on time, get my makeup on, wear it to work, and then still feel the energy to use it on the weekends. Fingers crossed.